Not sure yet. We're gonna see. Yes, that one worked. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for this live interview of our June contest winner. We apologize for the delay. We had some technical difficulties again, so I'm a little frustrated with myself because I made a few mistakes with the live stream. But with that said, let's jump into this. I want to kind of give it a little background about myself, a little background about this interview. My name is O'Brien, and I am the CEO of the Dorian Way, which is an options mentoring firm that specializes in teaching individuals how to trade options on a one-on-one basis. And we have this process that we call follow, learn, and earn, that we encourage members of the Dorian Way to follow 3 different accounts that we have until they can learn how to trade themselves. And through the process of following us, they should be able to make consistent income. And those 3 different accounts, the first one is called what we call a all speculation account. That's where we trade all different type of instruments and different type of strategies and so forth. And then we have what we call our bread and butter type of account, where we are trading only stock indexes, and that stock indexes like the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, the NASDAQ 100. And then we have an account that we call our 1 day a month account. That 1 day a month account is a type of process that we encourage people who have really busy jobs, or someone who is looking to trade in an IRA but want something like a buy and hold with a kicker with like a gasoline on it, and then just people that just doesn't want to trade a lot. We encourage people to go into that 1 day a month type of account, because we're still trying to make at least 2% a month to be able to supplement our income. So with that process, though, we do not want people to be robots. We do not want our members to be robots. We want them to learn how to trade on their own, to be able to do this by themselves. So through our follow, learn, and earn process, we have a contest that encourages members to step outside of our process and try to outperform. And the members that outperform, we give a monetary award to each month with the best performance. And for June of 2021, it was Dovell. So we're going to interview Dovell here and see how we can get to know him tonight. So good evening, Dovell. How you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome, awesome. I am happy to have you, Dovell, and I apologize to you. Believe it or not, you guys, this is our 3rd take tonight.
I wasn't going to say anything.
So I'm gonna, full disclosure, I messed up on this live recording, but we're going to make sure that this interview is very comprehensive and robust, and that you get value out of it, because that is important to us. So Dovell, to get started, why don't you give us a little background about yourself? Tell us stuff like where you live at, a little family history, a little work history. Let us know a little about yourself.
Okay, so I'm currently living in Austin, Texas with my wife. We have been here since 2018. We left California like so many other people. And I had lived in California for about 40 years, been involved in high tech, everything from working for a defense company, which I had a top secret clearance, to working in the other types of semiconductors and other things that were going on in the Silicon Valley area, and started working there back in '85. So been involved for a long time.
Okay. Wow.
And originally I am from Greenwich, Connecticut. So kind of hard to believe I have the hat, but my grandfather was a horseman, and he had a stables of horses, and so I used to wrangle horses for in the summertime, and we would take them up into the mountains. 11 days horseback ride.
We have some members that were requesting the cowboy hat because Dovell looks so good in that hat. Pretty sharp there, pretty sharp.
And I'm a white hat hacker.
So tell me, Dovell, are you married? Do you have any kids? You Do you love Austin? Tell us a little about that.
So I love Austin. I am married. We have no kids. We married very late, but it was our first marriage for both of us. My wife, Marguerite, actually is the daughter of a television star back in the 50s.
Okay,
And
wow.
so she even worked for Clint Eastwood at one time.
Okay, awesome.
And he only threatened to kill her once.
He said, "Make my day," huh?
Yeah, yeah. And so now she's an author as well as she writes books and edits books for different people. So that is her career. So I'm lucky I have an in-house editor, and she's lucky she has in-house tech support.
Love it, love it. So Dovell, tell us a little bit about your trading history. When did you start trading? What did you start with? Things like that.
Actually started trading back in '85 when I had my first job working for a defense company. And I was just watching what some of the older managers were doing.
Mhm.
And a lot of them were leaving, retiring, and so many of them did not know what to do and have any income afterwards. But
Mhm.
there was this one boss that was very much into the stock portfolio. I learned from him, I watched him, and so then I got into my first positions. I bought 10 shares of a software company called Microsoft. And people were laughing at me saying, "You only got 10 shares." And I'd ask them, "Well, how many shares do you have?" "Well, we don't have any." "Well, then I got 10 more than you do."
Exactly, exactly. So because this is our third run on this, tell us a little story about meeting Bill Gates, Dovell.
Okay, so back in 79, 80, I was still in college, and my sister and I started up a magazine for kids, and we were at a conference in San Francisco. And this geeky guy comes up, skinny, big glasses, and wanted to know what we were doing and said, "Oh, okay, this is the magazine, which is for kids." And I asked him and looked at his name tag, Bill, whatever. And I said, "Bill, so what are you doing here?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm introducing a new operating system called DOS." "Oh, well, good luck to you, Bill." And of course, he became a billionaire simply because I wished him good luck.
Of course, of course. So you guys gonna learn that Dovell has the minus touch on certain things that he does, especially with the in the crypto world. And we'll be discussing that a little bit more in a second. But Dovell, tell us about your trading in the 90s. What did you do? Did you buy stocks? Were you doing options in the 90s? What was going on?
I was just buying and selling stocks. I knew nothing about options. And, but I always liked the disruptive technologies. I mean, when I got into this, my first computer, I think I had back in 77, 76.
Hmm.
And I kept saying, "Oh, this is where things are going to go with the computers." And people like, "No, they're not. Who needs a computer?" And so then I got into the defense industry and was doing different things. Again, disruptive technologies. I mean, we were listening on cell phone calls when you couldn't do that. Well, yeah, you could. And so there was just a lot of things. I had a top secret clearance, so that was kind of fun and some of the things we learned. And then I got into the internet. I saw what the internet was going to be, and email, of course, being with the defense, I knew emails way before the public did because that was the whole DARPA process in the government defense industry. So I started there, and then it wasn't until about 2000 that I actually got into options. And I learned options by going to different seminars and trying to understand them. And I did some little bit of trading, but didn't do really well with it at first.
Okay, okay. So I do know a little bit more about your background. I believe for the .com era, you did make like through your trading and so forth over 1 million, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, yeah. So that Dovell knows his technology, which is pretty cool.
I
Um,
started off with $10,000, and within a few years, it was a million.
yeah, man, and I, most of the time I don't believe people will say that, but I've been able to have the privilege to know Dovell for a little over a year now, and I've been able to see how his account has grown from the time we first started together to at one point significantly high. And I'm not talking about 100%. I'm not talking about 200%. I'm talking about way over that in a very, very short period of time. It's just been amazing, and it's based on his picks. Some of the we'll get into more, but some of his picks that he had on were single digit type of stocks, and then they all just shot up almost all at the same time. And some of those things was Riot. Dovell was one, and a lot of you guys that's listening to this live interview and so forth, and a lot of our members know about Riot. It's a blockchain crypto type of stock, and it got really popular. A lot of millennials were trading it and still trading it, but Dovell was in it in the beginning. And when I first met Dovell, Riot was like $4, and he was like, get into it. And then so we introduced this bionic bull type of strategy, and we've made a lot of money. Not as much as Dovell in it, but we made a lot of money trading it because of his recommendations on stuff like that. But with that said, Dovell, tell us how long you have been in the Dorian Way, and why did you start the Dorian Way, and then we'll jump into a little bit deeper about your trading history and so forth.
So as you said, I've been with the Dorian Way for about a year. Now, prior to that, I went to seminars and classes with Thinkorswim before it became part of TD Ameritrade. I've done training with TD Ameritrade. I've done training with Online Trading Academy. And the problem I always had was that while they kind of told you about what different kinds of strategies were, they would say, well, you need your rules. Okay, what are the rules? Well, you have to develop them. Well, how do I develop them when I don't know what they are? Well, you have to learn by trial and error. And that's when I came across you by going to the YouTube channels, and I found you there. And then I started to sign up for some of your meetups that you did and listen there. And that's when I started to realize, okay, this is a guy who's actually giving me rules to work with that I can then, over time I might adjust them according to what I like to do, but at least gave me some ideas. And so one of the things that you talked about was how to use the deltas really in your favor, how to go and sell stocks as opposed to being a buyer of stocks. And just that whole concept was so new. And then we've all had trades that have gone bad, and I would have to go and just sell out of the position, like, okay, just mark that one up as a loss and I'll go on to the next. And because you're not going to be right all the time, but you actually showed ways in which you can roll things out, you can roll things away, and then how do you pay for that by doing other trades? So that was just enormous benefit of understanding. Now, these were some of the tools that I did not know, and nobody had ever talked to me before with all the other training that I had done.
Okay, awesome. So Dovell, so what is your specialty in trading? Meaning that you've learned options. You started, I believe, learning options in the early 2000s, and then you came to us, and then obviously we tried to enhance your option learning process and so forth. And so now, how do you use options? Do you use options to diversify your portfolio? Are you concentrated? How do you have such great returns? So for example, for June, everyone, Dovell had returns of over 29% in June, and that wasn't even his best month. I witnessed Dovell do something over 70%. I think it might have been in the 80s that you did in one month. It
was 82, 84%, something like that in 1 month.
Yes. In 1 month, just absolutely amazing. And doing that, having that type of return in a couple years is awesome. He did it in 1 month. So 29% is nothing to sneeze at. That's we don't expect members to do that, but Dovell has had those type of gains more than twice this year, which is pretty awesome, right? So tell us a little bit of how you trade. Is it concentrated? Is it diversified?
Excuse me. It's a couple of different things that I trade and how I do this. First of all, I trade in the industries that I know. I know high tech. I don't try to wander off into the foods and automobiles and all the other industries that are out there, industrials, not because they aren't good. They are all great and you can make money in all of them. It's just that I don't know them. I don't know the cycles. I don't know, if something's coming out, if that's worthwhile, but I do know it in the high tech world. So, and of course, with the high tech, it's a little more riskier, but with higher risk also can come higher rewards and higher losses too. So it goes both ways. So that's the first thing I do. Second thing is that I diversify in the kinds of strategies I put together. I really don't buy any stocks. I mean, there's a couple of stocks I do own because they're not optionable, but I do everything pretty much in options.
Okay.
And I've concentrated on about 3 core types of trades. I do short-term trades using the verticals that you have taught. I then will also do the back ratios and the bionic bulls that we learned from Ernie, which are much longer trades out. I mean, I'll go out 100, 200, even 300 days out on that type of stuff. So I'm diversified because this way I'm not trying to figure out what a position is going to do every single month. I look at a position and I look at a stock and say, look, I like what they're doing. It's going to take some time. It's disruptive technologies, which is what I love, and I seem to know something about. And so that's kind of the strategy there on all of that. And then I also use a lot of the technical analysis, the charts that we get from Gustavo. That has helped tremendously. Now, I've done a lot with candles and all that through the years, but it's just good hearing what Gustavo does and seeing all of that. So those are kind of the strategies of how I diversify all this. So I look at the deltas, I look at the charts, and I look at the timeline.
Okay. Awesome. So Dovell, give us kind of an example of something you have on now and what type of strategy you're using, just so we can kind of get an understanding.
Well, as you kind of talked about, I'm very heavy into what's going on in the world of the cryptos and the cryptocurrencies. Now, I do trade the cryptocurrencies on a different type of a platform and the way we buy that, and that has nothing to do with the stocks and all. But I also trade the cryptos with the stocks, with the companies that are the miners, which are the blockchain type companies, the companies that are coming up with new innovative technologies, even some of the electronic vehicles and the autonomous vehicles that are going to come on, because I'm seeing where this is going. And I like the cryptos because my background in understanding the internet, and because I've been in it so long, the internet was never designed for two things: security, and it was never designed for any type of currencies. But because of what has gone on with the Amazons, with the Facebooks, all of these different things now, the newer generation is using their phones and the internet for things that it was never designed for. And the blockchain fixes all of those types of issues. And so this is where I'm seeing the younger people go. And so, okay, I'm going to go and follow them.
Okay, interesting. So with that said, if you were doing a blockchain, let's just say a type of company, let's say like you in Coinbase or Riot or Marathon, what type of strategy do you do in it? Give us an example. Besides a vertical, what else would you do in it?
Well, I will do a vertical for the short term, but I'll first of all start our position off from a long position, and that might be a bionic bull or it might be a back ratio. So those are the first positions. And, I have it as a credit, so that's good. I'm going to get money up front for doing the trade, but then I'll help finance it by doing the short-term verticals each month, just to kind of get a little extra income. And then, okay, that gets me a little more, and then get out of that. And, I do a lot, as and we've been talking about this with the spreadsheets, trying to figure out the calculations. When do I get in? When do I get out? And yeah, I'm a geek. And we'll start playing with all of that. But then I start using those tools and those strategies. But I use a lot of the strategies that you have presented, where these are the deltas. You want to be in the 15. Now I kind of boost mine up to 20, but then that's my choice. It's not. anything else. But I do maintain the width of the strikes that you talk about.
Mhm.
I never go below, above 20, in the difference between them. And so there are just other things that you have taught in how to go and pull these together. And then I look at the candles and decide whether or not this is going to be a time to get in or a time to hold. I don't just jump right into something. I let the trade come to me because I understand how the candles are. And you and I had the talk one time, I remember, where the candles and the charts do not tell you what the stock is going to do. They
Mhm.
tell you what the emotions are of the people who want that stock. And so when you start looking at it from the human emotional side of things, that's how they're actually used, then you kind of get a little bit better idea of how to use them. And then you get, the time of the month, the time of the year that it is.
Mhm.
Summertime, things are kind of dead. So that's how I play them.
Okay. Okay. So tell us, Dovell, what was your your best trade ever that you can think of? What was your best, return on something that you traded?
I think it was either the riot or my wife got me into this one, but then I saw the tech that they had. It was called EXP, and they
Mhm.
were a real estate company, but
Mhm.
they were really being disruptive as to how the real estate industry was going.
Mhm.
And I think I did about 400% on them within about a 4-month period. And then I got out of it.
Okay.
I still have a couple of positions, but it's turned down, so I got out. But
Okay.
I think they're going to be going far.
Mhm.
And then, the riot and those types of things with the cryptos. Now, I will admit that I have some positions that haven't turned out well, but I'm holding on to them. And I'll roll thumbs out because it's something where I still believe that this is something going to occur. It's just not going to occur in a month. Might be in the middle of next year.
Okay. So what's been your biggest loser that you can think of, Dovell?
The biggest losers, and I don't know what the actual position was, but I can tell you the industries. It's
Mhm.
when I get into something I don't know the industries. Like we had one with Chipotle,
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't my biggest loser, I'm sure, but I don't understand food services and fast foods and when do people go there and when don't they go in there. And so I put on a trade thinking that, okay, the chart says this, and it was totally wrong. And I just got knocked out of it. And it was one of these things where, okay, I can either try to roll it out, roll away, or just take my licks.
Mhm.
And that was one where I decided just take my licks just to get out of it because again, I was gambling because I didn't know the industry. But
Mhm.
when I'm doing the techs and because I know it, it's not as I don't feel it as much as a gamble as it is an educated guess.
Okay. Okay. I can understand that. You get a lot more, for someone like yourself, you have a deeper conviction about something you understand, so you will be able to hold. I've seen Dovell hold things tech wise that, I would have probably bailed on, but he made the right decision because he knows that industry. So he has a deeper conviction and it's not based on my conviction or someone else's. It's based on his. So he knows when to, fold and when to hold, right? And kind of aging ourselves with that one, right? Or at least aging myself.
I
Um,
don't know what that song is.
but that's good, and I love that about your personality. You have a very interesting risk tolerance. We consider Dovell our Dorian Way type of cryptocurrency expert. I haven't ran into it's something that you do not know about cryptocurrencies at this point, and it's awesome. You got me into it. I was an old fart basically saying that, I don't believe in it and things like that. So once I met you, you convinced me that it's something to believe in. And so that's been great. I've made some money on it and trading it in demonstration accounts, traded it in personal accounts and so forth. So it's been fun. His wife has read, his wife, um, produced a book, and that was about Bitcoin. And so I got that book, read it, and that really spurred me to be able to jump into it and so forth. So Dovell is someone that is interesting to get to know, because he has a lot of different interesting type of takes on things, especially in the technology industry. You were just emailing me something the other night about something really speculative, and that you gave your disclaimer on. I've been looking into it. I think it's interesting. We might present it to the group and let them know that it's, well, we will eventually, and let them know
Well,
it's
do you want me
speculative.
to tell you what it was, or
Yeah, please
explain it?
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so this was taking a number of different technologies together and disruptive ones. We all heard about electronic vehicles, okay? We've all heard about the BlockFi, the Internet of Things, and there's a company called Helium that has a node that you can buy that actually will communicate to the Internet of Things in a range of areas. And you can build up this network of these different nodes that you put together. Well, this electronic vehicle company is going to also have autonomous vehicles that will just come to you from a app that you'll have on your smartphone. You'll just say, I want I want a little car here, a little electronic vehicle to show up. And if you go into Austin, and I think it's probably true in other parts of Texas, I'm just not familiar with it, you can go and get a scooter or a bicycle, and you just present your phone to it, and then you pay for it, and you jump on it, and you ride it to where you want to go, and then you just drop it off and you leave it. And the next person who says, oh, I need a scooter to go back somewhere, they have it. So the millennials are not buying cars and all anymore, because why do they need it? Because they can get around with the Ubers and all of that. So it's looking at how all of that is coming together. And with the helium, which is kind of interesting, the more people that get onto your node to communicate to the Internet of Things, just in your neighbors and all, you actually earn current cryptocurrencies off of that. So you're actually being paid by the company to have that node. And you can have multiple nodes around the area. I mean, you can have one at your work, you can have one at your home, you can find a neighbor, and it just can grow out to unbelievable areas. So if you look at Helium on the, I think it's helium.io is their website, you'll see the map of where they're doing things around the world.
Okay, awesome. So what's the symbol for it? Do you remember?
The symbol for Helium, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
It's not publicly traded. It's not a stock option. This is purely a crypto.
Yeah. So what about the one you sent me the other day, though?
Okay, that was the FUV is the symbol for that. That's the autonomous cars. These are little electric vehicles. They look fun, and they've got a whole slew of different kinds. They got one that's a pickup, one's a delivery, one's an emergency, one's just a little scooter type thing. But you sit on it, it's all electric. You can go for about 120 miles on it before it charges. So it's great for inner cities, things like that. And so that's one that I am now playing, and I bought a couple of bionic bulls on it.
Okay.
And what I'm doing with bionic bulls, because of the way they work with the call options on also, is they're long dated, but I buy even numbers. And this way, when the position has doubled, where I basically have gotten my money that I put into it, or have had put in, I now take that out. So now I'm playing with the house's money. My money is no longer tied up into it. And so therefore, I can go ahead and just sit there and wait longer for it.
Okay. Awesome. So those of you who are new on this live stream, a bionic bull is a strategy that the co-owner of the Dorian Way, Ernie Rep, has created. It's basically a way to have unlimited upside, but doing it for credit. So we teach people that type of strategy. We have a few more minutes here, Dovell, so I want to ask a couple more questions. The next question I want to ask is what are you doing to improve your trading right now? What are you doing to kind of, you see an area that you need to improve, and what are you doing about it, if any?
Well, I'm asking a lot of questions, and I know I ask you a lot of questions, and I go onto YouTube's and I'm trying to learn things, and I'm trying to understand economy and money and how it all works. How does finance, what's going on when they talk about inflation? What does that really mean? What does deflation mean? How's that going to affect the stock market? How's that going to affect people? How do you go and not just trade, but how do you manage your money? And so I'm doing things with money management and different ideas there. We talked about the what is the Roth IRA that we now are doing with cryptos,
Mm-hmm.
and why a Roth is better than others.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I asked you about questions on bonds. When they talk about interest rates on bonds, is that good? Is that bad? What does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just always trying to think ahead and understand when something happens. Now I know what to do. I don't react. I don't have to react in the panic. I can say, "Oh, okay, that's happened. Now I know the strategy to do with that."
Okay, awesome. So, my last question, or kind of like a statement, is any other insights you want to kind of provide to the listeners to kind of help them in their trading journey, Dovell?
Yeah, I think the big thing is that I've talked about was understand an industry that you know, that you're passionate about, you love. I know there's some people who really know healthcare and they know it inside and out. Stay within that boundary of the healthcare industry, because you'll know when it's going up, you'll know when it's going down. You have taught us how we make money for when the market's going up or when the market's going down. Don't try to just take somebody else's idea and then say, oh, well, because Dovell traded it, I'm going to trade it. No, I've done some research. I have a feeling for it. If you just copy what I'm doing or what somebody else is doing, you're not really learning options in the stock market and what to do that you can be prepared for when something does go against you. So understand and why you want to do that trade. And a lot of times, you'll look at a trade and you go, if it was $10 cheaper, I would just love to go and buy it. And then all of a sudden you buy some and then it crashes $20, $30, which we've seen. And then, oh, I got to get out of it. Well, wait a minute. You were willing to buy it when it was $10 cheaper. Why not buy more now that it's $30 cheaper? So this is where you have to have an understanding of what you're buying. You're not just trading just as a robot, as you've said.
Correct. That's awesome ending there, Dovell. I super appreciate you joining and doing this, Dovell, because you are someone that we definitely can learn from. This is actually Dovell's second time winning. It could have been your third, but we have this requirement that you can't win too many times in a row. So we can kind of get to know a number of different members and so forth. But Dovell had one of the most amazing 2020s, and he took that into 2021, and he's had some huge months. And he is learning a lot of different things, like he just mentioned, and concentrating and having his own conviction. So we super appreciate you being the winner of our June contest, Dovell. And I'm sure we're going to see you again, as interviewing you again, and we'll jump in even deeper because, as we mentioned earlier, Dovell is our group's expert in cryptocurrencies, and I know it's a lot of people out there that's interested in that. And like I said, Dovell it's nothing I don't think he knows about it, right? That's how passionate he is about it. So it's really fun to kind of hear him talk about it, because you can hear the passion behind his voice there, and it makes you want to jump into it and do some of the things he's done. Him and his wife are really passionate about it, which is pretty awesome. If you're in the Austin area, Dovell is a lot of times in live in-person events, doing happy hours and doing talking trades. I know they have a happy hour coming up this month. You can go to our website at dorianway.com if you're in the Austin area, and you can get the information on that happy hour. You can get to know Dovell over a beer or something like that, or a meal. and that would be great, right? So
And
again, also,
Gustavo is there, and he's fantastic in
correct,
what he
correct.
does. So we work very well together as a team.
Exactly. So Gustavo is in the area. Gustavo is one of the main members of the Dorian Way. He does a lot of different webinars and a lot of teachings. He's going to be teaching a lot of our members tomorrow night and on Sunday night as well. So, but this interview is about you. So I didn't mention
Thank you.
Gustavo, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. With that said, thank you again, Dovell. Super appreciate you doing this evening and dealing with my three takes.
No problem.
Good night,
Thank you
everyone.
for inviting me.
Yes, good night, everyone. Super appreciate you participating and watching this live stream. Good
Good
night.
night. Happy trading.